Hello and welcome to the van build vlog, which is not so much a van build vlog as really just a van update vlog this time round. Not a lot been happening. The van is virtually complete really, but there's a few bits and bobs here and there that I have been doing and I thought I'd give you an update. First of all, since it is glaringly obvious, perhaps we should start with these. These are my new cushions stroke pillows. There'll be cushions during the daytime as you see them like this, and then they can be pillows at night. I am not a fan of scatter cushions and that kind of thing. Well, I hate them actually, but I did need something in the van that could be a pillow, and it does help bolster up when you're sitting along the length of the bed against the seats here. Gives you something to sit against. And these were a charity shop find, £3.50 each. And they're in good nick, absolute bargain. Over in the corner, attempt number 2 at the shelves. It hasn't really worked out terribly well. Yes, they are shelves, and yes, I can stack things on them, but that middle shelf is wonky. Weirdly, it doesn't look so wonky in the van, but it really is. That middle shelf is sloping, despite me measuring it, marking it when it was in the van, and then when I glued it all together, it came out at an angle. But as you can see, I can get things in there and up there, so that now gives me some capacity to put mugs and plates and things, so that tins of food can go down here underneath the hob. And I've discovered that by a lucky fluke, that space I left is the perfect size for those plastic containers. So I'm quite pleased about that. Resting on the top edge of the corner shelving unit, I'm also working on this over the top shelf, which is held down by this end piece here. Now, at the moment that's just resting, but the end piece will be glued on there, and as you can see, I've used little dowels to hold the shelf in place, and the idea is the shelf is removable. You lift it off the dowels because that whole corner shelf piece is removable in case you want to get down to the pipe work of the gas heater and things. And what I'm going to do is put some little dividers along the shelf just to stop stuff sliding around, and obviously at the ends I will need a little end piece to stop things falling off, and there'll have to be a little lip along the front. But that's all fairly straightforward. What talking about the shelf does show up, of course, is that I still haven't trimmed this bit behind the kitchen unit. And I'm thinking that down there in the space made by the shelves, I'll probably put some sort of tiles, possibly. And I'm not quite sure what will go above. I might just put another strip of carpet over there, round to the back of the corner shelving unit. Don't know, I'm umming and ahhing about that. I think what I'm going to do here, about there, is put a holder for a roll of kitchen paper, so that'll be easy to hand when I'm warming some soup or making a mess or whatever. You'll notice also that I have started very gently stocking the van. I've got mugs and bowls, there's some plates back there, and then those two red things here, they've got cutlery, and that is a collapsible draining rack which fits nicely under there. But I would entertain any suggestions you have in the comments below for essential things that I should have in the camper van. Over here in the sink I have, for example, already got my little micro kettle. There's some pots and pans in there, and a rather neat little washing up brush. That is campervan size, that washing up brush. Got that from Lakeland. And I think that should do me for most of my cooking utensils. But yeah, any suggestions for other things one should carry in a van would be gratefully received. Sensible suggestions, that is. Hiding, almost camouflaged, dare I say it, at the end there are some little legs. And you've probably guessed already what those are for. They are the bed extension legs. I ummed and ahed about all sorts of ways of doing this. Was I going to have little sticky out bits on here that I could rest the bed extension on? And then many people saying just have legs that come down from here, either that fold down or stay out permanently. But the trouble with ones that are there is I think they would just, little legs would jar with the look of the panelling, even if I paint them. And then when you lift this up, you've got the issue of, well, do they stick out and jab you in the eye as you lift the bed up, or do you then have to put them on hinges so you can fold them out the way? And then if you've got multiple legs and you're trying to fold them on hinges, yes, they'll fold out the way when you lift it up, but when you bring it back down, you'll have to probably push them back out to make sure they miss this as they come down. And I don't know, it all just got a little bit awkward. So I decided just to have a couple of freestanding legs at the end there, and then when I need them I will put them into place. That's what it looks like when it's in place, just sitting underneath the bed slats. And I've put little dowels in the top that locate into holes in the bed slats so they just fall into place and keep the thing where it's supposed to be. So there, for example, is the rear section of the bed made up. And it's quite firm. I've sat on it, wriggled about on it, and it is quite firm, quite solid, not going anywhere. One good job I finally got round to is carpeting round the windows on the sliding doors. And this was an almighty job. And I ended up making a template for how it would look in newspaper, all stuck together with masking tape, and then I took that as one long strip of newspaper, laid it out on the carpet and cut it out as a flat template, which when then held back up to the window went round the window as one piece. And that means there is only one join in that bit of carpet, which if I recall correctly is up in that corner. It's not perfect, like much of my carpeting attempts. There are little gaps I had to fill in that didn't quite work. But if you look at it sitting back from a distance, it looks perfectly fine, I think. And the same again on this side as well. Newspaper template, laid it out as a big flat template, cut it out, and then stuck it on with the Trimfix spray adhesive. You can see there one of those little niggly bits that didn't quite go right, so I had to fill that in with another bit of carpet. But, well, you do notice it, I suppose, if you're looking, but to the casual observer it's not too bad. What doing that has highlighted, of course, is that I still haven't done the rear doors. Now, the silver foil in the top there, that's just blocking the sunshine from coming in through the windows and heating the van up. So that wouldn't normally be there, but they do need some carpet around the metal parts and carpet over the silver stuff and carpet over that woodwork. That's probably the last major task to be done in the van, I think. One thing I've been meaning to mention for quite a while, and I've seen a couple of questions about it in the comments, is whether this was converted officially to a campervan or not. And I can tell you that yes, I did meet my 6-month deadline to get it converted on the DVLA records to a campervan, or as they call it, a motor caravan. And what you have to do is a whole set of requirements. So you have to have a bed, and you have to have cooking facilities, and there's a whole list of things. I'll leave a link to the DVLA requirements in the video description below. And you have to send them photos and a letter saying, look, honestly, this is no longer a panel van, it's a camper van. And if you're lucky, you get your V5 registration document back with it changed from panel van. They changed the body type, panel van, to motor caravan. The actual classification of the vehicle is still a light goods vehicle. I think it's called an N1, and I think there seems to be some argument about this on the forums, that the speed limits are still applicable for it being a light goods vehicle, which are slightly different on single and dual carriageways. Anyway, it's by the by, because I tend to drive the van quite amiably and slowly anyway. I'm not in a rush. But the point is, yes, it is now officially a camper van. The other thing I've seen mentioned in the comments a couple of times is people saying, oh, you want to watch those solar panels, they'll probably blow off if you go down the motorway. Well, I've done a few motorway trips. I've been down to London, that took a couple of hours each way. Went to visit my friend in Surrey. I've also been over to Worcestershire. Typically I'm driving at about 60 miles an hour. I'm not trying to be in any hurry, and certainly you can hear a whistling noise coming from around the solar panels as you drive, so I'm trying to keep that to a minimum. But they are very firmly attached. There seems to be no damage, so I'm pretty confident that they are going to stay in place. Obviously they will be affecting my fuel economy. Just having a roof rack affects your fuel economy, and then sticking the solar panels on top, that's another reason why I'm taking it gently and only driving at 60. And so far the trip computer is recording an average of about 44 miles per gallon, which I think is pretty good. Just before I finish, I'd like to do a blatant and shameless plug for one of my other channels, namely Cruising the Cut. I know when I started the van channel, a lot of my viewers from Cruising the Cut came over here, but since then there have been a lot of new subscribers to Vandemonium who may be completely unaware that I have another channel all about my life on board a narrowboat. It's called Cruising the Cut. I'll leave a link to that in the video description down below, so if you haven't seen it, there's, I think it's 140 or more videos about life on the boat, which perhaps you might find interesting. So as I say, I'll leave a link to that in the video description below. That's it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. Cheerio.